Hello. It's like we've got an active crowd. What's up, guys? Good morning. Just wait another minute or two. Looks like Ludo wants up. What's up, Ludo? Come on up.
Hello, how are you?
I am good. How are you doing, man?
Should we wait a minute or not?
Yeah, I'll give it another minute or so.
Okay.
Chris, what's up, man?
Living the dream.
How are you doing?
How about yourself?
I am good, you know? Very good. Also living the dream. There's nothing else to do, right? Just live. All right. Just give it another second here, and then yeah, it should be a fun one today. Were you guys up for the builders meeting this morning? I did not make it. If you were,
It was, but it was a short one. It was only me. So
okay, nice.
Yeah, I came there also, but though I was too late.
you were late.
Yeah, I saw that you started and did meeting, so yeah.
We'll do is we'll just run through kind of the updates, and then I've got some stuff to go over in terms of the strategic positioning policy proposal that was just recently passed and outlined a whole bunch of items for an execution plan around the narrative shift and kind of basically written out a plan for it that we can kind of go through real quick and discuss. It's just a draft, so all sorts of uh, open communication for it, but it'll be fun to run through. Let me post the agenda, and just remember on the agenda, it's the last tab. I like the tabs, guys. All right, here we go. Yeah. So I don't know if you want to start, Ludo. Just provide a quick update on kind of Aramid and what you've been working on and all the fun stuff. I know that there's still been some funds that are stuck that haven't been refunded yet. Been hearing a lot about that from some community members, and yeah, not sure if that's been addressed yet. I do know that there have been some folks that have um, used the bridge recently as well. So thank you for getting the bridge back up and running. But I know that there's still some outstanding refunds that need to be pushed through at some point here soon.
Yeah, so my biggest challenge is that somehow GitHub decided to suspend my account. So yeah, so I'm having fun with this for last few days, and
When was that suspended your account?
the GitHub has
Oh,
suspended my
GitHub.
account.
Yeah.
And I have no idea why. I wrote them already to support them a few times that what's going on, and I have no response yet. So
That's
yeah,
super annoying. I know they had like some. I got an email the other day, maybe it was yesterday, that they had some data breach of some sort.
I have no idea.
But yeah,
Um, yeah,
it has anything to do with that. But I know they're dealing with some shit right now, from what I understand.
yeah. Also, after this, Daniel showed me that Aramid Finance organization has been flagged. I have no idea what this means in GitHub. But Daniel is asking the support as well, like what is it? I don't know if this my suspended account has anything to do with the Aramid organization to be somehow flagged, or yeah, it's strange. Oh, yeah, but technically there was, or Daniel is working on the Explorer update. We migrated the Aramid Explorer to new servers, but somehow not all transactions which were already refunded were marked as solved. So some failed transactions there seems to be like in the unsuccessful state where they were already basically processed. So this brings this uncertainty to the explorer. So yeah, this is the main holdback there for the refunds, because we need some clear data to to be for sure not do some double spending.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh,
It's a tricky situation, the double spending set
yeah.
issue.
Oh, and what else? And building all the time something. So
Nice. What's the latest?
oh, yeah, I'm preparing for the hackathon. I'm building the game. So, oh, yeah.
One.
But it's not released yet.
Good
So
stuff. Sweet. Well, that sounds good. Yeah, wanted to. Well, thanks for coming up, and it was an interesting conversation last week. Going into some of the AI wallet security measures, all that fun stuff. Been kind of thinking a little bit about that as well as the week went by. But definitely an interesting conversation. Um, anyway,
yeah,
let's
I've got
jump.
some progress on this on-chain wallet as well, but still in development.
Nice. Yeah, it's one of those things that I'm sure it just comes with a little bit of time and testing and you know troubleshooting a little bit. But let's jump to Chris and talk House of Voy. I'm sure
You can hear
yes.
my Dogs make noise in the background because I gave
Yeah.
them a treat and they're fighting over it. So anyway, so yeah, House of Void, it's coming along. The latest updates are we've been actually working on the game launching platform, so it's easy to actually launch new games with different currencies and all of that. Been spending the last like couple weeks on boring back-end safety stuff, which is not exciting because you don't really see it, but it's one of those things where if you don't do it, it could be painful if you don't do it right. So working on that. I would assume that we get to a point where we get to actually start prototyping the new product in about a month, but nothing really crazy to announce other than that stuff.
That's good stuff. I know I still have like a whole bunch of Voy sitting in the old House of Voy contracts. Is that gonna like migrate over to the new games, or
No,
how's
you
that
don't.
gonna work? I gotta go get it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Go get
Can't.
it sooner rather than later, or it's
Yeah,
just been
I mean, we're not gonna get rid of those things, so like, you're not gonna lose your money.
yeah, cool. Is it still like the beta version still up and running, or
Yeah, everything's up and running. You can go play on the old version you want.
nice? Sweet. What else you been working on? I'm sure more than just House of Void at this point.
I mean, the main thing that I've been really focused on is AI in general. Really kind of pushing my knowledge and my expertise with that. Um, that's kind of what's paying the bills right now. So been doing a lot of that stuff.
Nice. Gotta love it. It's good stuff, and I know that that's kind of like part of the policy proposal and kind of narrative shift that was recently passed through that I had proposed kind of through this committee, which we'll get to in a little bit here. But yeah, I don't know. Usually we do if Zarmian's here, we'll do a little update with him, AVM Studio, House of Boy. But and
He's been working on this thing called Pad lately. This is
oh
new.
yeah,
I don't know if he show you that. It's pretty, but it's pretty
yeah,
cool. Uh,
I, it's
development.
nice. I'm definitely I'm liking it, especially with all the different you know projects that I've got going on using OpenClaw and other tools. It's really nice to kind of stay organized and be able to um, kind of get all the ideas out in one place. Because otherwise, it's pretty blind without having a tool like Pad. Have you been
Great.
using it?
No, I haven't been using. Um, I built a pretty powerful development harness that both Zarma and both use, and I use GitHub as the organization layer behind it. But it's what Zarbian is actually building right now. Like as soon as it can actually use a more robust development harness, I'll switch over.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool. For what it is, at least for what I use it for, it's nice to stay kind of organized and uh, keep things in order. Uh, Working on that, I totally forget about because I start doing something else, or it's just a fun inquiry, and then it turns into a different cron job that I have running in the background that I completely forget about without it. So it's nice to have. Um, but yeah, anyways, we'll jump into to Dorkfi and just provide a couple of updates on the Dorkfi side of things. We've been really focused on recently just making sure that all of our disclosures and all of our language on the site itself is compliant with the future Clarity Act recommendations and guidance, as well as the recent guidance around stablecoins and the Genius Act through from the SEC. So we've made some updates to our disclosures and so a message to any user that we've got that supplied assets or gone through borrowed or minted WAD. Just a recommendation to go double check and read through the recent updates to our disclosures. It's definitely worth a read, and if you got any questions or anything like that, feel free to reach out to myself for the main Dorkfi Discord or X account as well. So feel free to reach out on that front. We're also in the process of launching some new markets as well, and a lot of the new markets are actually going to be on Algo, but they really paved the way for additional opportunities on Voy as well for adding some interesting different types of markets as well. So more to come on the fresh markets that are coming out. We've been kind of heads down on really driving some additional market activity, and just within the last day or so, I know that the margin on WAD has kind of closed, so it's been repegged just about. I'd have to check it again, but it's been repegged to a dollar through some market activity that's gone on. And yeah, thank you, Ludo, for getting the bridge back up and running. I know that was a blocker for us or for anybody who's out there looking to take advantage of the arbitrage on that. So it's a good thing that it's up and running. It's unfortunate that you're dealing with some issues on the front of GitHub and all that other stuff. So yeah. Anyway, I know that we've had a lot of different progress, a lot of different things happening on what was it, Monday. I know Nuss and Yayo and myself, and I don't know if I can't remember if anybody else had joined um, about and started talking a little bit about some of the things that are in proposal right now. One of which is the Chris Nugget proposal for the Algovoy wallet, and it'll be interesting to see what everybody or what the council decides on that one. Um, and and then the other big kind of announcement before we get into the narrative shift and all that fun stuff is that Gov has at least made a pretty big post, just kind of outlining some ideas around moving the Voy Foundation from the Cayman Islands to Wyoming, if I'm not mistaken, and nominating Scotty to be the signee president, if you will, to kind of take over the role of Glenn, which I'm personally fully supportive of. Chris, would love to hear if you've got any opinions on it. Definitely would love to hear that. But I think it's all positive things. It cuts down on a lot of overhead, brings it onshore for where most of our users are, I would say. Well, maybe not most, but a good amount of the work that's being done is here in the U.S. So, but yeah, any thoughts on it?
I fully support it. I think it's a great idea. I wish we could have done it from the start.
Mhm.
But
Such,
laws and everything,
yeah,
such is life.
yeah,
But yeah, I think it's great. I can't wait to see it happen. And I love Scotty. I've always loved Scotty. Love that he's very opinionated, and I think it'd be great. So my full support.
yeah. He's
Is it,
he,
is it going to be this BBLLC?
I have no idea. This is like a thing that's Gov's running right now.
Yeah, and I'm not entirely sure, but I do know that Wyoming has like two different types of DAO, digital asset companies. So there's like a formal DAO, a DAO LLC, and then there's like another type of company as well that I can't remember exactly which is which, but I
I,
believe it's one of the two.
okay, great. I support this as well. And perhaps the question is, do we get some incentives from the U.S. government that we move the void to U.S.?
I mean, that's a good thing to good question to ask. I don't know if they've put out any incentives or anything like that, but you know, that would be something that I could see this administration doing. So it's probably worth looking into. You know, try to figure out if there's any type of incentives for moving to the U.S. It wouldn't surprise me if there was something out there, but also it wouldn't surprise me if there wasn't anything. So, but it's all exciting, and I think overwhelming support across the board. When I first saw the proposal, my only kind of question really was, what happens if something happens to Scotty, or who's kind of the fallback president, if you will, and how do you handle that? And it was pointed out to me that there's a plan in place anyway in the Constitution, so it would just kind of lean back into the Constitution. So super excited about that, and I know it's going to take a little bit of time, and it's going to be uh, an interesting process, I'm sure, to go through. But yeah, I think Scotty's the right person to be the signer. He was been around forever, and was instrumental in helping build out the process with Gov. So yeah, it's the right person for the job. All right. Let's shift into, talking a little bit about this strategic positioning policy. And, I did some work on, making sure that there's some type of execution plan that, we can follow along with. And I think that we're at a point right now where we need to make it really simple and really kind of galvanize the troops, um, and kind of take it's a the strategic policy itself it's a big project, to kind of shift a narrative and to um, uh, ingrain that narrative in the broader ecosystem, and make sure that people understand, kind of what's going on. And a lot of it comes down to repetition of messaging, in my opinion. And I think that it's one of those um, it's one of those things that really is going to require coordination across the board, from all of us here, as well as anybody else who's been somewhat active within the Voya ecosystem. And we're going to have to really kind of pick one, or two or three, smaller messages that we'll be repeating, to essentially meme into existence. And the kind of lowest hanging fruit, in my opinion, and this can evolve over time a little bit, but the lowest hanging fruit, in my opinion, is pushing out the narrative that it's the cheapest blockchain to go build in production on. And of course, lean into the AI capabilities that are out there. Shelly's done a really good job of building out some MCPs that people can take advantage of and use. But before we even kind of get into um, the positioning around AI and building AI tools, we need to make it abundantly clear to people that this is the cheapest place for a small person or small team to go out and ship and iterate. And so that's my idea for getting this kind of narrative change executed on. And so I've gone in and I've shared a doc here that really kind of goes through. Feel free to jump in there, and I can open it up if I don't want anything crazy to happen where people are writing all sorts of messed up stuff. So it is locked down at the moment, but if you want access to it, you can DM me or your email address or whatever. Um, should I just share my screen? I think I'll do that.
Yeah, do that.
It sounds good. Boom. All right. So through this narrative shift execution plan, this is kind of the outline, and then the subsequent tabs on the left hand side are kind of just essentially longer form of the execution plan itself, and like just some sample tweets that I think we really need to get somebody to post out or schedule out you know 30, 50, 60
Is the stream
one.
working for you, Ludo? It's aired out for me.
Oh, it's not. Stream failed to start. Error 2012.
Okay.
Try again. Let Bagman.
Yeah. And by the way, I don't think that we should place the Voi network as the cheapest network to run. Like everybody can calculate this, but we don't have to state this because like in long term, it should not be like cheapest network, right? Like
Right.
the goal is not to make it like cheapest network. The goal is to provide the best services for everybody. And
That's
because
right.
like if the marketing would be like this is the cheapest network, it might give users like red flag, like because they're the cheapest, they don't have money, so they can provide the best performance. Even though it doesn't have to be true.
Right. And it also can evolve over time is the thought. It's, hey, we need to grab attention right now and
I mean,
drive it.
I
And
agree with with what Ludo is saying, that to a point that like we don't want to be known as the cheapest. That's because that's like a race to the bottom. But I agree with you too, Bagman, that it is something to talk about now.
yes.
And we need to be talking about it. So
Yeah,
it,
and that's my point is like this is the narrative for like the next
you want
6
cheap, you want
days.
quantum resistant, bibbity bobbity boo, boy,
Yeah,
bitches.
exactly. Exactly. And that's the point. It's like cheap, fast, easy to ship, small teams, AI, quantum, and there it is, and it's one of those one of those things that we have to have some type of memic value here that we're really pushing out to the masses, and that can change over time. It's just, hey, let's get some volume going and some excitement going. And yeah, cheap, I understand that, it's it has its connotations, but if it's able if you're able to actually have the performance for it, then there's no reason not to kind of focus on that. All right, is it working now for you guys? You still getting an error?
Yes, it's working.
Okay, cool. All right.
It's
So,
working for me
and
now.
you
I
know,
see
this
your
is one of
screen.
those things. Yeah, this is one of those things that it's essentially just launching the new narrative itself. What we want to do is we want to at least get some traction here going, get some eyeballs, get some repetition in, people just talking about what it is that we're doing. And essentially, the first thing that we need to do is create and publish a primary thread, just making an announcement about the policy shift and how we are going to be positioning ourselves moving forward. And I'll jump ahead to it in a minute, but there's a first draft of a policy thread. And then this really kind of second step to this is to within the same day or the next day have a true call to action that really outlines exactly what it is that we're looking to do and how we're trying to focus. And really the idea is to get more people. Doesn't matter your skill level, doesn't matter if you're trying to solve all the world's problems, or just build a simple solution, a simple game, a simple application that uses some type of blockchain underneath. We just want people to come here, test, ship, use the tools, and the cost to them is very minimal on Voy, and we need to kind of lean into that. So really, the goal is to just establish that operational narrative that we're moving forward with here, and create some initial momentum. And as we start to get some more traction, as the narrative starts to build, after 60, 90 days or so, we can start to shift. If the value of Voy is increasing and it's no longer the cheapest, we can start to lean into, hey, look at all of these applications that were built by small teams, um, and figure out what are kind of the winners, what are the losers out of the applications that came out of this early stage narrative shift. Um, the idea really is to kind of saturate the ecosystem with consistent messaging. That's something that we just haven't done ever, is like had like a swarm of people with the same consistent message over and over and over again. And it doesn't have to be like a super large amount of people. It can be a small group of us that is 10, 5, 10 people that kind of start to really just build and say the same message over and over and over again. And it's almost like the meme coin days. If you look back at the way that a lot of these like Shiba Inu coin and all the everything else, they had a very consistent message that just was memed into existence, essentially. Well, we want to do that with this is the cheapest place for small teams to go out and build and ship, and you can go ahead and use AI, and there's AI tools for you to take advantage of as well if you want to. So it's really about creating a reinforced message that increases the visibility and the echo that we may have. What we really want to do is start with the core group of people that are supporting, and then bring in some additional support as well. So if we can get to like 20 to 25 people that are memeing the same message or creating the same message over and over, for every single day for 30 days, 40 days, that will you know create some type of value for the narrative itself to really take place and hold place. Um, part of the strategy also needs to be really replying on not just the Voya account messages, but targeting some more high visibility threads that are specifically about crypto and AI, and swarming the narrative, and really just replying where there's some type of relatability, if you will, some connection to what that thread is or what that message is, that will echo the reach and build the reach up as well. So really the goal there is to make Void more visible outside of just the single echo chamber that we're building a repetitive narrative in, and we want to make it visible to where other builders and people who are interested in crypto and AI are living. Part of it is also updating the landing page, and this is something that has been talked about, pretty consistently, from the council and other community members. Right now, the landing page, I really like the ecosystem page, but there's not any, kind of above the fold messaging on that ecosystem page. So that's like a kind of a low hanging fruit thing that we can do pretty quickly, pretty easily. I'd be happy to, take on that work as well, and try to come up with something pretty fairly quickly that really kind of cements um, the messaging that we're pushing out right now. And once again, that can change and evolve over time, as we move forward. I'm not talking about like tearing down any of the existing website, because I think that the existing ecosystem page is really good. It's well thought out. It's interactive and engaging. The thing that I do think is it needs to be updated in some areas, and then there really needs to be a kind of a narrative um, landing page, specific landing page that you hit first when you type in voy.network, rather than just a ecosystem kind of like navigation platform. It's a true landing page that's got messaging that is in line with the narrative that we're pushing out. Um, so once again, kind of the core strategy here is to establish this clear identity that is repeatable, for people in the Voy ecosystem to push out. Really try to go after and attract small teams, individual developers, independent builders, and teams of two or three. We can highlight already, that there have been projects that have been built with very small teams. All of the projects that each of us that are sitting up here on the stage right now are building a project with a very small team. We've been successful. We can highlight those things, and we've done it in a bootstrapped way without any VC funding. So if anybody really wants to kind of uh, test the narrative, we can point to some existing projects that have been built out. Um, Really just kind of lower the perceived barrier to entry. It's cheap right now. Of course, we don't want it to be cheap forever, but let's capitalize on the opportunity that we have in front of us right now. Let's capitalize on the increasing cost of compute power, and the ability to launch a project using AI tools at a very inexpensive price point. We can evolve that narrative over time, to include even more uh, aspects of it, as there's more things that are built, we can lean into those areas as well. But really, it's converting uh, the attention that we get through the repetitive nature of the narrative that we're pushing out there into real experimentation and product creation. So at the end of the day, like what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get some more activity and make people aware that Voy exists, and it exists for a reason, and it is cheap and easy to build on. Um, so kind of shifting through, I don't know, does anybody have any kind of comments or thoughts? And I'm not looking at my Discord right now, so if you're messaging, okay, Nuss is gonna DM with notes. Cool. Chris is no longer up speaking, but I'm sure he's listening. Anybody else have any thoughts before I kind of move on? No. Okay. And Nuss, I'll share this document out as well. But yeah, so back to the kind of core narrative. So essentially on this document, we've got the execution plan here as the first tab, a core narrative tab. So this is kind of like the guiding principles of what we want to do, and then kind of like a 30-day plan. To how do we position ourselves in the broader market, and how do we want to actually execute on this thing? And then further down, we actually have the first thread in the post that we want to schedule out. I recommend doing this sooner rather than later. Just to make people aware of the policy shift. I know that Haruf's done some really cool threads lately where not only does it include words, but it also includes some images. I would suggest and recommend that we find some ways to add in some imagery as well. We won't go through that whole thing right now, but yeah, I just want to let you know that it's there. um, you know Builder call to action, this is like the second post that we would want to do. And then my recommendation too is to create, a schedule of building out these, tweets that we want to push. And I wouldn't even use all of them. I think we should pick and choose, like a few of these that we can consistently use over and over and over again, and not be afraid to repeat, and not be afraid to continue to push these tweets out on a regular basis, and maybe figure out other ways to be engaging. I like some of the engagement, engagement bait here, and some of this stuff is not really worth us focusing on, but it's open for discussion. um, Talking about the reply strategy and how we want to go about farming engagement. There's an outline here that really kind of goes into like, hey, how do we want to go through and execute on a reply strategy as well. So not only do I think we need to have um, the main account be replying on a regular basis, but the um, the core group of users that we're coordinating with, and I'm thinking of the people that are um, in the dork chat, the people that are in the ammo chat, the people that are in the Void community chat. Let's get everybody on the same page here on how we want to what we want to use and kind of meme out there into existence. um, and then I would say this last page here is really kind of about landing page copy and what we may want to use for that landing page. What I'll do as well for the at least for the landing page is I'll mock up like a couple of different options and then we can kind of take it from there. And then, finally it's just really the action items for the next steps. It's all right. We've made this policy shift. We've it's been passed. Now what do we do next? Like how do we move forward with this in a very clean, simple, easy way? And it's everything that I've been saying before. Publish an announcement thread. Um, you know, a call to action thread. Activate core supporters. So it's identify 10 to 15 key voices. That's the Mazes of the world, the nuts, everybody that's in the broader ecosystem that are in the core channels. But I would really start with 4 or 5 people to kind of get us all together, agreeing on, hey, this is the message that we want to echo over the next 30 days, and then bring in some additional people and bring in more and more as we go along. um, Once again, I think we need to be consistent, and part of consistency is launching content on a daily basis and regular times. And this is something that can be done pretty easily. Just schedule out a month worth of posts. It doesn't matter if the posts are repetitive or not, and it's actually probably better if they are repetitive. It's like every single day. I used to see, one of the examples that I used to see a lot was that was very effective too, in my opinion, was Red Kev. He used to post price of Ethereum, or hey, this is my daily post of Sprotos until something happens, right? And it was consistent every single day, and he got a lot of engagement for that. He grew, his reach quite a bit, and brought a lot of people into the fold in terms of engaging with that project. So it's just taking elements of what has been done before and implementing that in a clear, concise way for us to echo our new narrative. Um, Once again, standardizing messages, and repetition is key across all accounts. So it's just repeating the message over and over and over again. It's making sure that people know, what the heck we're doing and what we're working on. Um, yeah, the reply strategy. That's another. It's like a little bit more difficult to execute on, partially just because you got to find targets to reply to and ecosystems that you want to go after. So that's another focus area that we need to lean into to get more reach. But it's something that's important to the strategy. And then coordinate engagement. That's not really a number seven. That's a part of the activate core supporters, and really push that engagement out. And then last on here, doesn't it should be happening kind of in tandem with everything else, is updating the landing page. Once again, this can change over time. I agree that cheap might not be the best messaging forever. The point is to at minimum, get some more eyeballs, get some people to start to look at, hey, if it's so much less expensive than deploying a live production application on Ethereum or even Base or Solana. Let's go ahead and push something out, or let's try it. So that's about it for now. You know, jump up if you have some thoughts or sort of questions or want to. Do you think it's going to work? Do you think it's not going to work? Do we, what are you guys' thoughts? Let's give it a try. Okay. This is true. I think in order for it to really work, it's kind of coordinating across the board with the yeah, let's do it. Yeah, just coordinating with the you know core people, um, you guys that are here, and the key voices that we know of, and let's get some messaging out. I am out of office next week, but I'll try to see if I can line somebody else up to kind of run this meeting. And I'm glad we got a voice here too in us. Yeah, appreciate it. Um, but yeah, these are the things that we need to do now in order to really get some excitement back in the game. And yeah, it is just a first step. It's this isn't the execution of the entire policy. This is just, hey, let's do something right now that takes steps to building engagement and building out the ecosystem further and kind of there's more elements to the policy proposal, but as I said at the beginning when I first started talking about this, you know, it's a really it's a really big endeavor to take on that entire policy, right away and make a ton of big changes right away. So rather than doing all of that, let's start by controlling our controllables, which is how do we echo this new narrative, and how do we move forward with it. Um, so what I'll do is start kind of talking a little bit about it in some of the X chats and getting some. I'll do some galvanizing of the troops just behind the scenes as well. Talk to some of the key voices that we talk to every day, but kind of in private run through this with them as well, so that we get everybody kind of you know pointed in the right direction, and then really it's up to us to choose what that first tagline is that we want to go for, the first five I should say, or three that we want to kind of rotate through, and obviously identify somebody to schedule out the uh, a month worth of posts, which really shouldn't take all that long. And there's some tools that you can do to schedule posts and whatnot. So anyway, any other thoughts? Been talking a lot and not drinking enough coffee or water, so voice is parched. But any thoughts, Ludo? Since you're the one who's up here, what do you think about this?
Any activity which brings more users is good. So, like, let's do it.
Sweet, sounds good. Cool. Well, anybody have any other thoughts or anything else they want to share before we kind of call it here? Yeah, Chris.
Well, I have a question about timing of the council meetings. Now that there's been a lot of like changing, is it okay if we have them earlier again?
I mean, I'm not on the council,
I
just
mean,
heading up
but
the
like,
ecosystem. I'm
yeah,
sure that they would be open to it, and I think right now the interim council, at least, the EZK is in in Africa somewhere, and it's like at the current time when when the council meetings are, it's like 3 a.m. for him. So,
Yeah.
not a great time to get quorum. But yeah, if Nuss wants to pop up here and make a comment on that, I think yeah, I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. If I remember correctly, I know that Yayo has some like a certain day where he can meet earlier, so it might move days too. I don't know if it has to be on Monday, but
Yeah, that's the only thing I really want to kind of bring up because I'd love it to be earlier during the day again. I'd be able to start participating a lot more. Um, late night, especially when daylight savings doesn't line up, it's pretty late for me.
Mhm.
So um, I'd like to actually start being more involved again in the governance. Now that I've taken a break and maybe I can come back and people won't get so upset about me speaking my mind.
Sure. Yeah, no, totally. And yeah, it makes sense to me. I can personally, I just attend and listen and sometimes try to, you know, provide insights into some of the proposals and stuff. But yeah, I don't see why not. I know that
One of
there's now an open channel between Block Authority
the,
and the current
one of
council,
the things
but
that I would love to start talking about and love to get the community's thoughts about, or in general, is what about raising block rewards
mm, hmm
by like 50% of the overall treasury?
yeah. I mean,
Maybe putting it
just happen
all in
quickly.
block, mostly block rooms, you know?
Hmm Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's definitely interesting. Get the distribution out there faster.
Yeah, I mean, because the the original, I mean, going into like the math of how it's originally set up, it was designed that it was going to be given out a lot faster through governance, and it's just not happening. So
Mm,
there's a lot. I mean, if you look at the actual the like what's unlocked at this point, it's tremendous amount that's unlocked that just is sitting in the treasury. So and it could be we could pair it, I mean, we could do that and pair it with your announcement of it the cheapest. Not only is it the cheapest, but the blocks, the large majority of all rewards that will ever be out will go through block rewards.
mhm.
So
Yeah,
another thing to get people excited about.
totally. I also feel like at least in my policy proposal, like I'm supportive of that idea, and also in the policy proposal, it gives guidance on kind of the buckets of like what we may want to fund and what we don't want to fund from a developer perspective. And I do think that part of the narrative should probably include like, yeah, cheapest, come build your prototype, and then like out of the prototypes that you build, like we'll fund the best one, right? So there should probably be some amount of funding that is specifically set aside for funding experimental projects, and and then some of the funding is for some other supporting existing DeFi incentives, those types of things. But um, I do think that
Yeah,
increasing rewards
I mean, that's
makes
why
sense.
I don't want to put the entire treasury into it. There should be some left
Sure.
over for governance, um, but yeah, I think, I mean, it would be, it's like, make it more like Bitcoin, where the only way to get it is to actually, you know, just run a node.
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense. Cool. Well, like the idea, and I think I don't know. I would just if I were you, Chris, like I'm open to meeting earlier. I don't, you know, not on the council anymore, but yeah, just reach out to those guys and we'll figure it out from there. Sweet. Anything else before we call it?
Me.
Awesome. Really appreciate you guys showing up, and thank you, Ludo. Thank you, Chris, for popping up here and giving some updates and giving some feedback on the stuff that I've put together and been working on here. So it's about time we do something around the narrative, and I think it's a good time for us to be making some noise as well, as we're at kind of still in a bear market, but there's still some interest and things are kind of turning around, but it's an opportunity for us to make sure people are aware that we're still building and working here. All right, thanks guys.